Welcome, movie watchers. Thank you guys for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to talk about the new Netflix film, Red Notice. In the world of international crime, an Interpol agent attempts to hunt down and capture the world's most wanted art thief. Red Notice stars Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. Seriously, a really good cast. Really big celebrities in this film. One of Netflix's biggest films they've produced, not only in terms of its budget, but with its cast as well. I didn't really have any thoughts going into Red Notice. I didn't see a trailer. Just knew it starred Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds. It should be pretty fun. Red Notice is one of those films that it's bad, but you still kind of had fun watching it. It's not going to go down in the history as one of the best films ever made. Certainly not the worst film I've ever seen. But there was plenty that was wrong with it. But overall, it was an enjoyable film that seemed to be inspired by, big classic movies like Indiana Jones. You kind of got some references and you got some inspiration from, big movies like that. The problem with this movie is definitely the dialogue and the story itself. I like the story. I think the story is interesting. And we have Ryan Reynolds as an art thief, and Dwayne Johnson is trying to track him down, and Gal Gadot plays a very mysterious art thief as well. And so each person has their own kind of separate storyline, but they all kind of end up in the same room at the same time and working together. The movie presents an intriguing story right off the bat, and positioning Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds against each other. But the details to the story and the way that they're expanding the story really kind of lost me. It's throwing in a lot of unnecessary information, large amounts of exposition scenes to really just give us all the information we need about everything from Ryan Reynolds' previous life to Dwayne Johnson's upbringing to Gal Gadot. So many things the movie feels like we need to know. Like, it's very important information. But when you think about it, it's really not that important to the story and to the characters. So the film is honestly just wasting a lot of time when it comes to developing these characters and the story, and to the point where you just kind of get lost and you have not that much interest within the movie. You just want to see it, progress a little faster, get to those big action scenes, and just wrap up the story. So the story started off pretty well with Cleopatra's 3 eggs, and from there on, trying to track down these 3 eggs. But everything that was going into it, why they needed to track down the eggs, and just the life story of all these characters, it just felt so unnecessary to the point where I could care less with what was happening within the film. But luckily, there's a lot of good chemistry within this movie. Like I said in previous videos, Dwayne Johnson, and anybody that works with Dwayne Johnson, you feel like they have good chemistry. From Kevin Hart to Jack Black, anybody that's worked with him in the past, you can tell that they have a strong connection, not only on screen, but also behind the scenes as well. And I do feel that same way with Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot. There's a lot of good chemistry. Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson are known for some comedic movies, and their banter back and forth, the dialogue, it's pretty funny. I did laugh quite often within this movie, more so for Ryan Reynolds with some of the jokes that he was delivering. He was roasting Dwayne Johnson's character. It's just a lot of fun, and you feel that chemistry. And Gal Gadot doesn't have the most amount of screen time up until maybe like the 3rd act of the film. And so when she does enter the fold into more of a serious role, she also has great chemistry with the 2 other stars as well. So I don't have any complaints in terms of like the acting or the chemistry, because it's all there. It definitely does work. It's the way that it's the dialogue between these characters, and the key details to all of the story and the progression of the story. It's just a mess. It is really cringeworthy at times watching this story develop, and the big reasoning why they need the eggs and everything. It's just, it all feels very weak. Like, not a lot of effort went into trying to progress the story or flesh out these characters. It's just really pointless information served throughout the film. Now, the action in here is explosive. It's big. It's big, and it's just really entertaining. There's a lot of moments that felt like Indiana Jones, especially within the third act. Moments that felt like Jumanji in the third act as well. So you're kind of getting, like I said, some of that inspiration from previous films. But a lot of the action is handled very well. There's some really good directing too. I noticed in a couple early scenes, a foot chase scene between The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. I found some of that direction, that camera work, to be really good. Just really capture some of those action scenes very well, to where you're really interested in what's going to happen and see how it's all going to play out. So the action in here is filmed nicely, and there's some pretty big explosive action scenes, especially coming towards the end of the movie. So Red Notice, it was a mess of a story and progression for these characters. A lot of exposition scenes, a lot of pointless information, bad dialogue between the cast, but the chemistry is there, the action works, and I think the acting is pretty good as well. It sets it up very nicely for a sequel, which I assume they will make with the amount of money they put into this movie, and bringing on 3 big names into it. A sequel will probably happen at some point, and it's in limited theaters as well, so I'm curious. It seems like the second story, from how they set it up, could be pretty interesting, and working the 3 of them kind of together a little more in a second film, maybe there'll be a chance to flesh out these characters just a little bit more. So Red Notice, check it out. Be warned, it's not the best film ever made, but it's one of those films that it's so bad that it's fun, but it's not like a terrible film that people are just going to roast for years and years to come. It's not that film. It's just a bad movie that has some enjoyable moments throughout. So before I give you my score for Red Notice, make sure to check out my channel. Here I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, ranking videos, tier lists, all that fun movie related content that you see on YouTube. I do it all here, so hit that subscribe button to get it all in one spot. I'm going to go ahead and give Red Notice a C+. Thank you guys for checking my review for Red Notice, the new Netflix film. It's also in theaters, so choose however you want to watch this film. Stay tuned for more up and coming content just like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.